Thanks for coming today. We have an excellent panel presentation for you today. Very excited. We have four lovely professionals here with us. We have Nancy Andrie, Business Development Director over at Wingate Senior Living. We have Lyssa Phillips, who is a seniors realtor. We have Elizabeth Way, a remodeler with Robert Wade Construction, and we have Debra Hedges, who's an estate planning attorney at Borchers Trust Law. And we're going to start with Debra. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Deb Hedges, and I'm a partner at a law firm located in Medfield. We do estate planning. But before I start with my presentation, I just want to thank you all so much for coming today. The four of us are excited to meet with all of you, to answer any questions, and our real goal for the day is just to be a resource for all of you. So if you have questions, we're going to stick around a little bit after. If you feel free to stop any of us to ask questions. I have a lot of material I'm going to be covering today. A lot of the material are in the handouts, which I hope will be helpful. I can also email a copy of my presentation if that would be helpful as well. A little bit about me. I live in Medfield and I work in Medfield. I have two children that are both adults at this point. Went to BC, so I grew up and I'm from the area. Today I'm going to cover what I consider to be the essential documents needed for an estate plan. Some of these documents are important to have during your lifetime, and then some of these documents continue on after you've passed away and are activated also after you've passed away. And I'll go through each of these documents in some detail. The first document that is a document that is important while you are alive is a power of attorney. This is a document that deals with legal and financial issues. This is a document that you would name somebody that you trust that could help you with your financial or legal affairs. Right now, all of you are able to manage your own affairs, but if ever you are in a position where you're not able to manage your affairs, your power of attorney could help deal with things such as paying bills, going to the bank for you, dealing with your taxes. So a power of attorney is an important document to have in place now. They can help you now even though you can do it yourself and you just don't want to. And they can also continue to help you if ever you're not able to do it yourself. This is a document that does expire at your death. The next document is a healthcare proxy. This is a document where you would name someone that you trust that can make medical decisions for you if you are not able to make a decision by yourself. Another document that's important is a HIPAA authorization. This is a document where you name people that can get information about you. So if you are hospitalized, you may have a family member that you don't want them to make decisions for you, but you would like them to be able to call and say, what's going on with my mom or my grandmother or my grandfather? That would be a HIPAA authorization. And if their name is on that list and on that document, your loved ones can speak to doctors about your care. Both a healthcare proxy and HIPAA expire at your death. Another document is a living will. So a living will is a document that would be activated if only you were in a situation where you were terminally ill and doctors determined that there's no quality of life and you're being kept alive artificially. So this is a document where you state your wishes to have life-prolonging measures removed. It's a very personal choice, and not everyone agrees with this, but if you would like to have life-prolonging measures removed, so if you were on life support, for example, this is a document that you can sign so that doctors and your family know that your wishes are not to be kept alive artificially. Another document is a will. So a will deals with three or four different important things. A will is a document that's going to name your beneficiaries. So who would you like to receive your assets after you've passed away? It's also the document you're going to name a personal representative. This is the same thing as an executor. And this is a person that's going to gather all of your assets and distribute according to your wishes. If you had young children under 18, this is also the document where you would name guardians. Any asset that you own when you pass away that's in your name that does not have a beneficiary named would go through your will. So assets such as your home, your bank accounts, maybe investment accounts, your personal property. These are assets that would go through your will. If you have life insurance, if you have retirement accounts, and you have beneficiaries named, those will go directly to those persons that you've named. Anything that goes through a will, however, will go through the probate process. So you might heard the word probate and not really sure what it means. Probate is a process that is expensive and lengthy. I'll go into that in a moment, but most people try to avoid probate for their loved ones. If you just have a will, or if you don't have a will at all, whatever you own in your name when you pass away will go through the probate process. So one of the things that we do as estate planning attorneys is we want to make sure that our clients have peace of mind and to know that their loved ones are taken care of after their passing. So what is important to us is to help clients avoid probate after they've passed away, to have their inheritance to their loved ones protected, and also to try to minimize taxes. So what is probate? Probate is a process where if you just have a will, someone's going to have to bring the will to the court and file it with the probate court. The court will have to review the will to make sure it's valid and issue letters of authority to the person you've named as your personal representative. Before your personal representative can have access to any of your accounts, to your house, to your belongings, they need to have a letter of authority issued by the court. This can take several months. It's also expensive because anything that involves the court usually involves attorneys. There's filing fees. It's also public. So if you have a will and it's brought to the probate court, anyone can look up online and see who's in your will, the contents of your will, and who your beneficiaries are. So there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want that information out in the public. It's also a timely process. It takes usually up to a year because it has to be in existence. Your probate has to be open for a year in order for creditors to come out of the woodwork. So a lot of people want to avoid this whole process because it's expensive. Your loved ones will be paying for it. It involves attorneys and it takes a lot of time. The number one way that we help clients avoid probate is by creating a trust. There's two large categories of trusts, revocable trusts and irrevocable trusts. I'm going to start with the revocable trusts. A revocable trust is your alter ego. It is something that you create for yourself during your lifetime. So you create a trust, you can be the trustee, so you manage the trust, and you can be the beneficiary while you are alive. So anything that you put in your trust, you have full control over. So for example, if you owned a home, you would deed your house into the trust. You can still renovate, you can still finance it, you can still sell it. It's just owned by a trust. But by having your home in the trust, when you pass away, it automatically avoids probate and it goes down to the beneficiaries you've named in your trust. So having a trust helps to avoid probate. Anything that's in your trust while you're alive or that goes into your trust at your death would automatically avoid probate. So what we do is we go through all of your assets and we want to make sure all of your assets go into your trust either now or after you've passed away so that when you pass away, nothing has to go through the probate process, which will save your family a lot of time and headache. Again, with a revocable trust, you manage it. You are in control. There's no separate tax filings. Everything that's in a revocable trust is yours, and you can manage it while you are alive. Another category of trusts are irrevocable trusts. These are popular for asset protection. The biggest reason we create irrevocable trusts are to help clients with the Medicaid spend down. In order to qualify for Medicaid, if ever you needed to Medicaid for covering long-term care costs, an individual can't have more than $2,000 of assets in their name. So a lot of us, some of our bigger assets is your home. So a lot of people would like to protect their home because they want to ensure that if they have to spend all of their money in order to pay for long-term care costs and to get down to that Medicaid $2,000 spend down, they don't want to lose their house. So you can create, or we would do it, we would help you, or any attorney, create an irrevocable trust. If this trust is in existence for 5 or more years and you put your home into this trust, this asset that's in the trust would not be countable toward your Medicaid application. So again, you could protect certain assets by putting them in an irrevocable trust. You no longer have control over that asset, and you can't be the trustee, but you can name someone that you care about and trust that can manage it for you. But if you put your home into this type of trust, you can still live there. It can still be sold. It can still be renovated. You're just technically a tenant, and it's owned by the trust. But if in the future you were to apply for Medicaid, it would not be one of the assets that you need to list as in your estate. The one caveat for this type of trust, it has to be in existence for 5 years or longer in order to work. Trust can do a lot of different things, so I'm just going to touch on a couple things that we think are really important. One of the things that either revocable or irrevocable trust can do is to help protect your beneficiaries from losing their inheritance. A lot of us, when you pass away, if you've named your beneficiaries, let's say your children, as the ones that are going to receive your assets, if it goes directly to them, it's called outright. If it's an outright distribution to your children, it becomes their money, but it also gets mixed in and kind of merged with everything else they own, and it's not protected. So if they get divorced, if they get sued, it's going to be their money, and it's going to be vulnerable to these third parties. So what we often do is we create what we call inheritance trusts. These are trusts within your trust that are created only after you've passed away. So instead of, if you have 2 children, like I have 2 children, and when I pass away, each of my children will get a trust only after I die. So the trust for me is for me during my lifetime. I own everything in that trust. But when I pass away, my son Sam, my daughter Sarah will each get a trust. And it'll be for them, but it's not their money. They're a beneficiary of a trust I've created when I die. By creating it by me for someone else, it's an irrevocable trust. That way, if my son gets divorced someday, hopefully not, but you never know, whatever he inherits that stays in this trust will be protected. Where if, when I die, if I just gave him the money directly and he gets divorced, most likely 50% of that would be going to a divorcing spouse. Same thing with lawsuits. So it's just a way of protecting your loved ones, protecting their inheritances from third parties. We call it protecting them against the killer Ds: divorce, debt, disputes, disability, death taxes, and destructive spending. So also protecting them against if they have a drug problem, if they have spending problems. These are all ways to protect your beneficiaries. Trust can also help minimize taxes. I won't go into too much detail about this because this gets pretty complicated, but essentially everyone here, when you pass away, if you're a Massachusetts resident, if you own more than $2 million of assets, your estate is going to be subject to an estate tax. It's around 10%. So if you are a married couple, we can help protect up to $4 million against estate taxes. Otherwise, most of us would lose a $2 million exemption as a married couple. So it's just something to consider. And when you do pass away, what gets added up is everything you own: your home, your investments, your life insurance, your retirement accounts, all of your personal belongings. They add it all up. If you're over $2 million, there's going to be an estate tax. One of the things that's important to realize, if any of you do have a trust in existence, you want to make sure that you have assets in your trust. This is what we call funding your trust. In order to have the trust work, you need to make sure that your assets are in the trust. So for example, your home should be owned by the trust. Different accounts of yours can name the trust as a beneficiary. Your checking and savings accounts, you should name the trust as a transfer on death beneficiary. These are things that attorneys can help you with to make sure that your trust works for you. We always hate when we see a client or someone's passed away, they spent a lot of money on a trust and there's nothing in the trust, because then it doesn't serve the purpose of avoiding probate and protecting your loved ones. Finally, when is it important to update your estate plan? There are a lot of reasons why it's important to update them on a regular basis. A lot of our clients will come in and they haven't looked at it in 25 years. There's a lot of reasons you'd want to update it. Number one is changes in the law. There's things that have changed over the years that might impact your estate plan, so it's important to speak with an attorney to make sure that your intentions are still followed. Also, changes in your age, changes in your health, changes in your family situation. Someone might have passed away, someone might have been born, someone might have gotten divorced or married. All reasons to review. Also, the value of your estate. Hopefully your estate has grown over the years, but it's also depleted, I'm sure. So there's reasons to reevaluate depending on how much money you think you have now and in the future. Also, thinking about Medicaid and the long-term care costs, that's a big issue for a lot of us. So just something to think about in advance. And also the people you've named in your documents. So whoever you've named as your healthcare proxy or a trustee or a power of attorney, they may no longer be available or want to do it. So it's something just to revisit and review. We especially recommend a power of attorney be updated every 5 years. They don't expire till you die, so they shouldn't need to be updated. But financial institutions are asking for newer dates just because there's so much fraud out there. So we really encouraged people to have those updated every 5 years. That's about it. I know I've covered a lot. I know I've spoken kind of fast because I'm trying to get through because there's 4 presentations today. But there are materials that will be helpful to you. And then I'm happy to answer any questions after. I just want to also say that I think estate planning is so important. It's important to me. This is a passion of mine. I lost my husband 10 years ago. I had 2 young children, and I returned to practicing this type of law because I lived it myself. I see how important it is to have everything up to date and to be able to protect your loved ones from something that, unfortunately for all of us, is inevitable to face. But again, I'm happy to answer any questions. You should have my contact information. Feel free to send me an email if you have questions. There's not going to be a charge. If any of you are interested in talking about estate planning, again, complimentary visit with me at your convenience. So next up is, thank you. Next up is Elizabeth Way.
Second for the tech side of things.
Technical one just asked if the technical person needs help.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Once upon a time, right? No computers, no nothing.
Sorry, everybody. Be with you in a sec.
Where were we before PowerPoint, right?
My presentation really is prettier with pictures.
It's actually really, it's actually really nice. So.
Yes. Very, very nice. I lived in Montreal, so.
It's the Wi-Fi. Do we need a password? There we go. Perfect. You want to give me a card? Just to give you a
Thanks for hanging in there with me. My name's Elizabeth Way. I am a certified aging in place specialist with Robert Way Construction. I am passionate about certified aging in place and talking about it, but I'm not a public speaker in any way, shape, or form, so please bear with me. So, what is a certified aging in place specialist? It means I've taken special training through the National Association of Home Builders in collaboration with AARP, because these things that we learn and implement are so important. We go to training on design, detailed solutions for creating accessible homes, and we adhere to a strict code of ethics, which we do anyway at RWC, but it's very good to know that CAPs have this in their training. CAPs also commit to ongoing education. So, who is RWC and what do we do? That's Rob. Great picture of Rob. We put him on our marketing materials because he's the one that goes out to see you more often than not. He's a great guy with 30+ years of experience in the home renovation genre. He's a consultant first, and he will walk you through a successful project. We're local. We've been here for 35+ years, and what we like to tell our clients, louder? Okay, is we're not going anywhere. 35+ years and counting. So, why AIP? Simply put, we saw the need. So, the what and why of AIP. Aging in place. I love this definition, so I'm just going to read it out. The art of growing older in the comfort of one's own home, surrounded by familiar memories, community, and independence. I am currently aging in place in my home. It's not our original home where we raised our children, but it's one floor living, and we hope to stay there as long as possible. According to AARP, 77% of adults want to stay in their homes long term. Familiar surroundings, emotional support, it's all security. The common barriers to AIP. This is what we see all the time. Bedrooms upstairs, kitchen, living on main floor, laundry in the basement. Oh boy, up and down those stairs with that laundry basket. That was my life for 30 years, and it got to be a lot. It was something we were thinking about when we were moving forward, and my laundry is steps away from where I live, and I love it, where I spend all my time. The laundry is 5 or 6 steps away. Additionally, narrow doorways, bathtubs with high sides and slippery flooring. Oof. Poor lighting, lack of handrails and grab bars. And this, as we grow older, or as our parents are, as we help our loved ones, we notice that the tiny bathrooms that were built in the day, so small, no space for mobility aids, no space for caregiving assistance. So, why planning ahead matters. Why we talk so much about planning ahead is so that we don't face crisis mode when something happens, that we're able to design and implement before the absolute need is upon us. So some of the benefits, in addition to avoiding that stress, being proactive and making the decisions that you want to make, designing around what you have thoughtfully put together, what we have helped you assess if you're looking for our help. And we can personalize it, design a living space that reflects your needs, your lifestyle, your preferences, and your aesthetic. Our first AIP client. Spoiler alert, this is my mother-in-law. Cute, right? And there's Rob. So, before we had the vocabulary of aging in place, we had our first AIP client 18 years ago. This is Priscilla. So we custom designed her in-law attachment to my sister-in-law's home. Why did we do this 18 years ago? She was young and healthy and in her early 60s, traveling the world, but also recently widowed. She still wanted to travel the world, but she did not want the upkeep of a home by herself. They lived on the water, there was a boat, there was a dock, there was all kinds of upkeep. She had no interest in any of that. She just wanted to live her life. And she was lonely for family, so she wanted to move home from the Cape. So, again, we designed and implemented the right thing for her. And these are the things that we included, and it aged very well with her for 18 years. This part's a little difficult. She passed this summer. We miss her tremendously. She was a wonderful woman. But the apartment itself has come full circle, and it's a beautiful story because her grandson lives there now, my sister-in-law's son, and he will be married soon, and you never know. Perhaps they'll flip-flop living arrangements, and he will raise his family in the main house, and perhaps my sister-in-law and her husband will move into the apartment. It's a possibility, and we'll see. So, you might have heard a lot about ADUs lately because in February of this year, ADUs by right was passed in Massachusetts. What does this mean? Well, an accessory dwelling unit is just this, these examples: attached in-law apartments, basement apartments, garage conversions, backyard cottages. As I mentioned, my mother-in-law chose the apartment. So the ADU by right, it means the ability of a homeowner to build an accessory dwelling unit without special approval, but it does have to meet local guidelines. We can help you with that. So if you're interested in AIP, you want to age in place, you're wondering if AIP is right for you, where do we start? We start with a home evaluation. With RWC, this is always free of charge. We are consultants first, and there is zero obligation. We're here to help. We're here to advise. You can just call us up and ask questions. We don't have to come over. We don't have to do anything else. We'll just chat with you. No issue whatsoever. We'll meet with you, and if you choose a home evaluation, we'll meet with you. We'll see your space. We'll discuss your needs and concerns, and then we'll review those with you and devise a plan based on what you're looking for, based on your budget. We'll present you with an outline scope, a timeline, the budget, and if you wish to move forward, we'll move forward together through design and construction or renovation. So how do we design for AIP? Designing for safety, comfort, and aesthetics. It can still be beautiful. It can still be a space that you want to walk into. It can still be a space where you walk into that bathroom, kitchen, whatever it is, and go, I love it here. I'm home. I feel safe. I feel comfortable. And it's pretty. I love this shower. You just open that door and walk right in. And so 0-step entry to get into that shower. No curb to trip over. This is non-slip flooring. So we love to design this way. If we're designing for AIP, we're always looking at wider doorways. We like those easy lever handles, increased lighting, non-slip flooring, and always handrails, grab bars. We did 2 bathrooms over for a client a couple of years ago, and he was in his 90s, and he said, you know, Elizabeth, I really don't think I need grab bars. And his daughter says, he's 92. If that's not old, what is? And I said, well, he doesn't feel old, but we could put them in for the future. And we did. We put them in for the future. So Tony and Andy, they are an amazing couple who decided that an AIP addition was right for them. They did not want to give up any of the existing space in their home. Often, if somebody has a family room and a living room, they'll often take one of those rooms and convert it to a primary suite. Add the bathroom, add the bedroom. It's on the main floor, good to go. No addition, we're using existing space. Tony and Andy decided they wanted their footprint to stay the same, and they just add on what they were looking for. And they are here to tell you about it themselves in a quick 3-minute video that I hope will play.
I had a hip operation, and I had a knee operation, and going up and down the stairs was going to be an issue. So, I mean, I didn't want to keep running up and down the stairs every time you have to go to your bedroom, or I didn't want to go downstairs to do the laundry because we had laundry downstairs in the basement. So the issue was, I said to my husband, we got to move. We got to get everything on one level. And he said, no, I don't want to move. He loves it here. He loves his house. He loves the yard. He loves the neighborhood. He loves his church. He loves the community. Wasn't moving. So we said, well, what's the other turn? And what's the other? We have to make the plan. And the plan was, the only other plan was to add a bedroom and a bathroom downstairs and the laundry room. So that was our plan. My kids actually said, "You've got to have a plan for the future. We're already up there in an age, so the future is already here." And she said, "You plan on moving?" I said, "No, we don't want to move. Then what do you want to do?" So the obvious answer was, "Let's just add on." So we did. And we're very happy, of course. I just love not having to run up and down the stairs or anything. I have a much bigger bathroom than I ever had in my life. I have a much bigger closet than I ever had in my life. All the things that you wanted when you were young finally get when you're old. So the last few years, we'll enjoy our life, whatever it is.
That I was interested in this. Way company did this project next door to me, a farmer's porch, and did the renovating of the whole outside. And every day I'd be out in the yard watching the workers. They were, not because they were quiet, but they just went about their tasks. I mean, like a machine. One day the roofers come in, next day this comes in, that. I was amazed. And I said, you know, these fellows do some nice work. Must be a good company to handle things. And we leaned towards it, and I said, well, we'll do it. She was interested.
And I said, "Well, let's get a couple of bids." He said, "No, I don't want to hear one bid." He said, "Just know that he's here, he's local. If anything goes wrong, we can, I can always call."
If anything goes wrong, I could call his mother.
So we just decided that, he didn't care. He just wanted somebody reliable and somebody we could count on. He knew that job was done in early advance also. So we knew that, it would get done without too much of a hassle. Because we've heard some horror stories when people they have additions and build houses, how tough it is to get contractors to come on time and all that stuff. So we knew that this one project beside us was done in a timely manner. We figured it would be the same for us. So.
Yeah, and the contracts were very nice. I mean, the electrical unit would come in one day, do their thing, they're gone. Next day, be a floor. It was a great system. Clockwork.
So that's Tony and Andy. Aren't they terrific? I met them for the first time. I met them for the first time at the end of the project. I talked to them plenty over the phone, but it was so rewarding for me to meet them when we filmed this little 3-minute vid. They're just so wonderful, and they're so happy with how they live now in their space. So my daughter helped me put this. She made this slideshow pretty. She put the pictures in there, and she said, people might be a little frustrated that they didn't get to see the pictures in the background of the words. So I'll just quickly click through those so you can have a look. Some AIP. I particularly like this little kitchen. It has absolutely everything you need. There is a larger sink on the other side here, but the colors are so pretty. It's meant for aging in place. You can hold on to both sides. It's got the most clever storage. No bending and stooping. Our knees are just not what they used to be. So this is pretty fantastic. So thank you so much for hanging in with the non-public speaker. I really appreciate your time and attention. And if I can answer any questions afterwards, I'm here for that. You can always give me a call or an email. Consultations are always free of charge. And again, if you just need a little advice and you want to call up, we do that all the time too. So give us a jingle. Thank you so much.
Wait, why is this is connected? Okay. You can go ahead and plug that cord one in, please. Thank you.
It's not on this side. It's on that side.
Okay. Like that. There we go. Perfect. Yep. Yeah. And then I use this. Oh, you're good to go. Okay. And Yep. That goes to the right? Yep. There you go. Okay. All right. Good morning. So hopefully, can everybody hear me? Okay. I'm kind of loud, so hopefully, but like I said, if you can't hear me, just raise your hand and I'm happy to speak a little bit louder. I am Nancy Andrie and I work for Wingate Living in Needham. That is a senior living community with independent living, assisted living, and a secure memory neighborhood. We are in the process of also opening another independent on that campus in the spring. What I wanted to go through and talk hopefully briefly about, you guys can keep me on with the timing here. One of the most confusing things with senior living is independent living, what it actually is, what's assisted living, and then memory care. So I'm hoping, as you'll see, this is a PowerPoint with a lot of information on it, but you know, if there's any takeaways that you have a better understanding of those different terms. So I'm going to start with the independent living. We're going to just specifically talk about independent living in a community setting. And basically, some people say, well, what is it? And I said, it's no different than if you live, for example, down the street right now in a house. But people come to they want the community living. They want the community support. So you would see some common examples of that as senior living independent communities. New Pond Village here is one of them. There's also co-housing communities. And then there's disability inclusive housing programs. So basically, this is what independent living is. People want to look at this type of living style because it promotes autonomy and choice. It's a very supportive environment. But community and social engagement is one of the key things. That's why people come into a community setting. They say, I'm totally great, I'm so independent, everything is intact mentally and also physically, but I've always wanted to live in that community environment. And studies and statistics, they're right on with it. It's pretty amazing to see how well people do with it. So we've got, like I said, I just ran through supportive environment, community and social, accessibility and safety. That's a huge, huge, huge key factor wherever if that's something that you're entertaining in the future, to know that you are on a campus that has 24/7 security. So you've got the outside security, you've got the inside the community, and then of course you've got your neighbors and the team there. And that's just a really huge piece. And then basically independent living, it's no medical, there's no nursing. So that is one of the big takeaways as far as differentiators. All right. Bear with me with this. Okay, so independent living, it offers a wide range of benefits. Again, for older adults, typically 55 plus. Some communities are 62 and over. The one I represent is 55 and older. So I meet that number. I can move in tomorrow if I wanted to. Well, actually, that's not true. But anyways. But again, they want the access to the supportive environment. Top benefits, let's just run through these. The autonomy and control, the social engagement, some of these I'm repeating. Low maintenance living. If you are in an independent living in a community, if anything's broken, if anything's just not working, or you just need a refresher, usually, and every building's different, but you would just call the reception, concierge, the key point of contact, and they would have somebody in there, depending upon the size, as quickly as possible.
Safety, security, which we touched on, and access to the amenities. People that are looking for independent living, they want to wake up. I'm going to give you just a quick example of a day. They want to have access to fitness. They want to have meals prepared by somebody else because they've been in the kitchen for so many years and are a little over it. And then to have, like I said, to have that community support and also financial. You're able to predict what you're going to be spending financially. So many people are on fixed incomes, whether it's a little or a lot. We all will, at a certain point, if we're no longer going out and working, a Monday through Friday position, we have a certain amount that we can spend. And you want to know that. So, and that's a common question that a lot of people end up asking when they come in to meet with either myself or one of my colleagues at Wingate. Aging in place, we talked about it with Deb, we talked about it with Elizabeth, and also Lyssa will be chatting about that. Aging in place means wherever your home is, you can age on your own terms and doing things how you want to do it. So I think people either have it in mind, whether they want to stay home, which is perfectly fine. Most people, I think the statistics are 77, correct? And doing certain things to the house so that you can spend out, the remainder of your time here on Earth. If it's in a community, what that typically refers to, aging in place, is moving in to one area of the community. For example, let's just focus on independent. And people want to know when they come in that they can stay in this apartment or cottage for the remainder of their life. Every company does things differently. As far as Wingate goes, if you move into independent living, you can stay there as long as you are safe. So we never get involved and say, you need to move now. And so that's really a big piece to this. We recommend too, if you need some help with a term that you'll hear, activities of daily living, that you can then bring in support. Support meaning private home care to help you with whatever you may need help with. Key aspects of aging in place. And hopefully you guys are all enjoying my little cartoons over here to the right that are not something I did. My daughter also did these. Key aspects of aging in place, you're staying in a familiar environment, but the biggest thing is you're maintaining your independence. Independence is absolutely huge, and it's more important to some people than to others. But if you've worked really hard with wellness, eating, fitness, or nutrition, fitness, and just keeping the mind going, which clearly all of you guys are doing because you're here for the program, whether this is just something, that's of interest, or if you can share it with somebody else that may benefit from it. So great job. Supportive services, and then health and safety considerations. Okay, assisted living. What is assisted living, or what is the main difference from assisted living to independent living? Basically, assisted living is you are getting assistance, at least, and I'm going to speak in the state of Massachusetts. You're getting assistance with your activities of daily living. Typically, and I say typically, not always, what's standard is 45 minutes a day. 45 minutes is not a lot of time, but it is enough time for somebody to, and I'll just use an example of somebody in my community. She needs help with her compression socks. She also needs somebody to sit outside when she's taking a shower because she's been having some falls. So it's medical, but it's not medical. So it's just a little bit of extra support. And the big thing with the assisted living, usually you are getting 3 meals a day. You're getting the 45 minutes of assistance with your activities of daily living. You've got programming. You've got access, which is one of the key things as far as I'm concerned. You've got nurses that are there 24/7. So in the event that you should need that, it's there. Who is it for? It is for seniors who are independent but need just a little bit of help with those daily tasks. It's also a wonderful opportunity for individuals that are recovering from illness or surgery, and you might just need some temporary support. And that is something I would recommend all of you just to keep in mind in the future. We're seeing more and more people that are coming into our community or meeting with our sales team to say, I'm going to be having a major surgery and I don't want to go to a skilled facility after. Can I come in here and can I use, or do you guys have PT, OT, or occupational, and then also potentially bring in some additional care? People have, it's a wonderful program. Some people call it a respite program. And I say this to you because this is something I found that hasn't been just out there to share with the public. So it's an important question, is this something that I could do here? People do extremely well. They come in for a minimum of 1 month. And really the hope and goal is that they do. We honor their wishes, that they're here for a month and they go home. So, and I think it's a really important piece to this. It also gives you that opportunity to try it out if that's something that, again, interests you. The key features of assisted living: personalized support. It's private. You have residents that are living in their own apartment. It is their own home to set up the way they choose to do so. Typically, assisted living apartments run a little bit smaller. The reason they are smaller is the whole point of assisted living is it is a social model. With it being a social model, that means we want you to socialize, or we want you to watch other people socializing. So that means stay out of your apartment and utilize all this, the community space that is there. And like I said, if it's used the way it was intended and built, it's a wonderful, wonderful option. Usually you've got all meals and housekeeping. Housekeeping, at least, and I'm going to just speak of Wingate, is weekly. We also do your laundry, your personal laundry, which is something I thought was interesting because I've never really heard that before. So we come in weekly, change your sheets, scrub your apartment, and then, like I said, do your personal laundry, which is really nice. You've got the 24/7 hour staff availability and then health monitoring. So we've got a medical alert system that is in place that everybody knows how to use, and it really does make everyone feel a lot safer. Assisted living versus independent living, just a quick little graph here as far as what is covered usually under independent living, and as you can see, the assisted. So independent is minimal medical care, no ADL support, activities of daily living, staff availability limited, but again, people, that's why they want it on a campus, and the cost. Typically the costs are lower because there's not as much that's included. And then the assisted living that we just ran through. Memory care is another. It's an umbrella off of assisted living. Not all communities have it. Most of them do, especially with what's going on right now out there in the world with Alzheimer's and statistics. Our memory care, we call it the neighborhood at Wingate. It is a secure community. It does not look any different than independent and assisted, and it shouldn't. It's just secured by a secure door. Typically with memory care, you are getting more than 45 minutes a day. At Wingate, we offer 3.5 hours. It's still not a ton because there's 24 hours in a day. But the memory care, let's see, who needs memory care? Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. However, you'll also see a lot of people that are in assisted living that have some cognitive decline. As we get older, things happen. I know myself personally, I'm starting to, did I just say that? Did I not just say that? So there's a certain amount that's normal. The only time we really recommend a memory care type of opportunity is if there's something called wandering. So if somebody is waking up, going out on a walk, and they're just walking and walking. So that is typically why. So for their safety and well-being, they need to be in an area where it is closed and safe and they're, it is secure. So Cost. As far as cost consideration, memory care is typically the most expensive piece to these different types of living because there is so much more support in there, so that there is somebody always available, several people for the people that live there in the community. Key features of a memory care: we've got specialized staff training, a secure environment, structured routine. You want to see so much programming if you are ever looking for this for somebody, a loved one, a family member or friend. You want to see constant programming going on so that the person is not just sitting there watching TV, and it just makes no sense to be in that type of environment. You're getting the support with the daily living. Again, speaking of Wingate, you're getting 3.5 hours a day, and I'm just watching the time here, and then family support and communication. Again, just a really quick chart, and I'm happy to also, after the fact, email just to have as a reference guide if anybody's interested. Memory care versus assisted living. The biggest thing is for somebody that is a wanderer, then you would be best in a memory care neighborhood. Okay, so I've just got some step-to-step guide, and I'm going to quickly run through this. Most people say, well, how am I going to know? And usually you want to find a location. You want to identify maybe a couple different towns. Typically it's close to family or friends. So that's one of the big things. Budget. You have a budget, and you should have a budget as far as what you are interested and don't want it to exceed per month. Look online. I always say the best resource is the resource we're sitting in right here, the senior center, one of the best senior centers I've ever had the pleasure of representing and working with before. Walpole, the team here is incredible. Asking the questions, and then obviously you're going to review contracts carefully. The last, number 7, it says involve a family or a life care manager. Life care managers, I'm going to quickly touch on that. I think it's anybody that is considering potentially moving into a community setting. It is the best money you can ever spend. They are all social workers. They have gifts. Their hearts it's unbelievable, but they know based on what you are interested in as far as location, the type of community, and again, finances, they will find you. They don't get paid for this. This is what they do. And so life care managers, they used to be called geriatric care, but then we heard that was not appropriate language. So I highly recommend it, life care manager. What types of activities are offered? Typically we want to, and again, this is, each community is different, but usually you want to find out everything that the person that might be coming in likes. There should be something on the menu as long as we can make it happen. So whatever that may be, a specific card game, somebody came in yesterday, said, I want to see lots and lots of presentations. And I said, you know what? This is wonderful. I love this, but it sounds like you're a lifelong learner. And there are communities that just cater to that. Not that I wanted to not have this person move into Wingate, but I thought it would make more sense. So I actually referred them to one of our friends in the business or a competitor. Common programs, again, this is just stuff, but you see usually they have several programs on wellness, creative and recreational activities, cognitive and educational programs, and that's a real big one. And then you've got the social community events, spiritual, health and wellness, and support groups and counseling. So it's very all-encompassing. And let's see. Okay, nursing care. Assisted living is not a nursing home. It is non-medical. Non-medical, they've got nurses on staff, but we are regulated by the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and there are a lot of specifics that we have to follow by. It sounds a little crazy, but I think when I first got into this business, and they said, just remember, it is a social model. So if somebody needs a skilled setting, assisted living is not the appropriate community for you. The aging population statistics, I'm going to quickly run through this. They're going up and up and up. People are living longer, which is awesome. So it's awesome, but there's also a housing shortage with that being said. But like I said, as far as resources, if it's something that interests you, reach out to your senior center, reach out to the town hall, reach out to any of those places that are in the town where you're paying taxes for. 100% connect with them. And let's see. I've just got some basic prices to give you an idea. I would say assisted living, and we follow with, we don't just come up with our rates. It's usually what everybody is offering. So I'd say around, for a smaller apartment, a studio, around $83.25 a month. And then we've got independent living, which I'm not going to even really review right now, but I've got information should anybody be interested in that. Typically, the memory care is the most expensive you're going to see. So studio apartment is a little over $12,000. And again, that is for memory, so. And that is all I have. I would also like to leave you with, if you are ever looking at any of these types of communities, meet with the executive director of the building. If I would have known this years ago when I was looking for my parents, oh my God, my life would have been a lot easier. The executive director is going to tell you how things are run, and hopefully he or she has a really strong team that is with them and staying with them, and it gives you a good insight as to how things are going to go. So that's just, I would leave you with that. And also, I'm a resource. Anything I can ever do to help, please. There's no strings attached to it. I am happy to help and answer the question. If I can't, I will find somebody that can answer it for you. So thank you. And on this note, I am going to, I think I talked a little too much, hand this over to Lyssa.
How's everybody doing? Does anybody need a little break to stand up or go to the bathroom or do something? No? All set. Okay. I'm Lyssa Phillips. I'm a realtor, but I'm also a retired registered nurse, practiced for 35 years. I became a realtor because my mother was a realtor, and I was done with the nursing career. But I decided to become a seniors real estate specialist, which helps the 55 plus move. And right now I'm downsizing, so I know what the heck's going on and how emotional it can be. And I'm here to say, if you're ready to downsize, and everybody should be downsizing occasionally, right? You're not alone. Definitely not alone. And once you realize that it is also an emotional journey, but also look at it as something that's not negative, you need to look at it differently. Look at it like downsizing is about letting go, right? It's about making room for what matters the most. And that's what you want, especially as Nancy said, and by the way, the food at Wingate is delicious. What Nancy said is, we're living on the average 22 years longer. Can you believe that? And there's 3 stages to our retirement. Some people don't like this, but I'm telling you the truth. There's the go-go, there's the slow go, and then there's the no-go, right? And when you get to that no-go stage, you better have your house downsized. No, it's true. I look at it from a nursing perspective, a safety perspective. When Elizabeth was talking about the older homes, about lighting is very important. And another thing, the electrical cords all over the place, those are hazards. So, okay, what's
We are not tech wizards.
Yes, I'm a nurse, and a realtor, not a tech wizard. Okay, so okay, I forgot what I was saying, see? All right, so lighting and electrical cords. So I look at it from a safety perspective, you don't want to be tripping over all your stuff, because once you break a bone or fall, it's hard to recover. I'm downsizing myself, and I fell at my age, at 62, and it's just another factor that you don't need in your life at this point. Okay, so SRES professionals, the role of a real estate agent, we're specially trained, me especially as a nurse, is trained to help people that are 55 plus move to their next destination or stay and age in place. So again, I'm here for reference only. You know, any way I could help you, feel free to contact me. There's some great fast facts about seniors and downsizing. This is going to be available for you through Deb Franken. She's going to send that into your e-newsletter because we are a little crushed for time. But there's some interesting facts about seniors downsizing. 3.6 million members of the baby boomer generation will downsize by 2037. We're the baby boomer generation, right? We're the oldest living population in the world. That's big. Okay, next. Okay, why downsize? Reducing costs. I am downsizing from my big home in Norwood, okay, down the Cape. I will be saving $80,000 a year in costs. Do the math. It's important. Affording a more expensive lifestyle if you have, you know, expensive taste and want to enjoy it, you'll get the money. Seeking a simpler life, and it does, once you downsize and organize, it is really definitely a relief, okay? Adapting to physical changes, moving to one floor living, or aging in place, but you just got to look ahead. Accommodating medical needs, a small household size, and restarting after divorce. Okay, making downsizing a little bit easier. This is the trick. You have to start, right? 10 minutes a day. Start early. I started a year ago, and I'm moving in the spring, okay? That was still a little bit too late for me. I'd say if you're planning on not even downsizing, just making your life more simpler, start now. Start in a small place, stay in the same area, and do 10 minutes a day. And then look at what you've done and be happy about your accomplishment. I always walk out of the room, wait about 10 minutes, and then I come back in and I go, oh, wow, this looks much better. And it really helps. You want to make a plan. Helping your clients plan out the steps and details will make the process more manageable and help lessen anxiety. Okay? Set a timeline. If you do 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day, that's perfect. Anything is good. If you're moving or downsizing into a different place, you can get the floor plan from the facility or the place you're going to, and you can pick and choose what you want for furniture sent there. I've done that with a lot of my clients. Take pictures. You can take photos of how things are arranged in the current space and can provide comfort and guidance on how they might be arranged in a new environment. So that's another option to do, to take the pictures. Plan for problems. Yes, this is stressful, so just be patient with yourself. Start with IESS. IESS stands for I used, less valuable, less emotional. Those are very common elements. Discard duplicates. You don't need 3 spatulas, do you? Right? Use a 1-year rule. That's good, right? The kitchen drawer that has got all kinds of junk in it, but you just open it up and you go, no, not today. Just do it. If you haven't touched it in a year, you probably don't need it, right? Donate and discard. Now, that is a real important thing. I have a lot of people asking me, what do I do with my stuff? How do I get rid of it? I have good news for you. I've created a list. I'm not done yet. I'll be done by the beginning of next week, of all local places that you can donate, or if you need somebody to help you downsize, or if you need movers or anything like that, cleaners, anything. It's going to be a big, big list that I'm going to give to Deb, and it's going to be very helpful. And you can always call me if you have any questions, okay? My brochures are in the back, too, a little bit of who I am and what I do. And get help from family. It's okay to get help. I need help. I called my daughter today. She's coming. And she's going to help me move boxes downstairs because I can't do it after I fell. So, any questions so far? Okay. What to do with what's not moving? Whew. Give to family members if they want it. And I would suggest that don't think your kids want it. Have the conversation early on instead of saving it and then having to get rid of it. Or my mother-in-law, who's a love, she's 90 years old, she's got tons of stuff, but she's like saving it for all her kids. And they don't want it, but she knows that. So that's your other option, right? Garage sales and estate sales. If you have help, I would not suggest having a garage or estate sale without people that can support you, because there's a lot of not great people in the world these days. Charitable donations. This is the list I will get out to Deb next week. Junk removal services. I have the best guy. His name is Smoke. Everything goes up in smoke. Self-storage, I love this little Forbes offers an equation to help determine whether storing items makes economic sense. Does anybody have a storage unit here? Okay, yeah, so this is an equation that you should be looking at. Let's see. This is the big one, managing the emotions. It's okay to cry. I've sat in the middle of my family room and going, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? It's okay. It's normal. But also be kind to yourself and be thankful of your what you're doing, of how you're downsizing, and it's not easy, but there's a lot of people out here to help you. So. That's it. Is that good? Oh, thank you. As Elizabeth says, we're not professional talkers, so. Any questions for any of us? Yes.
I have a couple of questions, actually, and I'm one of those aging in place people.
Okay.
Also a retired nurse. And I would like to address accessory dwelling units, because my husband and I, we live right down the street in a lovely development.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been there since 1971. But when we went down to the building inspector to inquire about an accessory dwelling unit, even if we put a separate dwelling, or we put an add-on to our home, if it has a kitchen, it's considered two-family.
Is that in the town of Walpole? Is it because it's zoned that way?
And I'm wondering, the units that are in existence now, do they get grandfathered?
Well, I know that in law, because I built an in-law for my mother who lived to be 94. In-law units are now considered accessory dwelling units. Even if it has a kitchen. But I'm in Norwood, so that might be different. But I did go to a conference about accessory dwelling units, and they did not say anything. An accessory dwelling unit has to have a kitchen, has to have running water, has to have electricity. No.
But what ended up happening is that we're not gonna do it, we're gonna age in place. Perhaps having this,
Yeah,
doing that.
right.
I can live on my first floor.
Okay,
The only thing I can't get to is a laundry room.
okay. Well, I tell you, the couple that were talking on Elizabeth's video, that used to be my high school principal. And the best thing is she's got a big, huge closet and a big, huge bathroom that she never could afford. And that's something to look forward to.
The other thing, the only other quick question I had, is the legality, well, when you have a revocable or an irrevocable trust.
Deb. Oh,
And people, when you have an irrevocable or a revocable trust, and you have a $2,000 minimum that you can have in your account when you're, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm saying they only allow you $2,000. Well, hello, with inflation the way it is, why the heck can't our government give us more in that fund? Let's do it. And I know we have to go to the legislators. Well, they better show up because I want to talk to them.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement with you on that one. Yeah.